Hello everybody, good afternoon and welcome to That's Football. I'm Mark Goldbridge and we're live for Manchester City against Liverpool this Sunday afternoon. What a big game it is. I suppose some people think it's probably not as big as it could have been if Arsenal had done their job yesterday, but still, I suppose the title race is still on. If you think it's on, then Man City need to get a result today. But yeah, I think it's... I mean, looking at the league table, I think that's the most important thing to whack up on the screen straight away, which I can't actually whack up on the screen straight away, which is my issue there. Sorry about that. I will get it for you. Where's the top? There it is. Yeah, look at the league table there. As you can see, that's how it looks. Liverpool are 8 points ahead of Arsenal. If Liverpool were to win today, they'd be 11 points ahead with the game in hand for Arsenal. So, yeah, Arsenal need Man City to win, and then they need a bloody miracle themselves because they lost to West Ham yesterday, which obviously was very irritating for Arsenal fans and everybody else who wants a title race. But having said that, I still think as a standalone game, the title is still on, and Manchester City will want to get a result here today. Team news is obviously in. I've got to say, before we talk about Liverpool, I look at that Man City side and I just think Ederson, Lewis, Kushanov, Aki, Vardiel, De Bruyne, Gonzalez, Foden, Savio, Doku, Mamouche. I mean, it's a new Manchester City side, isn't it? I suppose that's what I would say. I look at their bench and I go Grealish, Gundogan, Kovacic, Bernardo Silva. No Erling Haaland at all today, which... It's surprising in itself, I suppose. But it's almost like he's trying to build a new Manchester City side, I think. Mamouche, Savio, Doku, etc. Maybe that's what they're looking to do. So, yeah, look, it's Manchester City. Obviously, I think we're just so used to Manchester City being this dominant force in English football. And whether they still will be or not... time will tell, but if they are trying to build something new, then I think games like this are certainly going to be their opportunity to do that. Obviously, we've still got the Premier League charge outcome to come. But if they can ride that storm and be in the Premier League next season and spend again in the summer, then maybe that will be important. Sorry, Seb's shoe covers have just come for his football boots. 8-7 win for Seb's team this morning, if you're interested in that. What about Liverpool, Mark? Well, this is the Liverpool lineup. It has gone round on your screen. I went with a Manchester City win when I did win, lose or draw with Robbie this weekend, but I've had an absolute nightmare. I think the only result I picked right was Brighton to beat Southampton, and that's like... predicting the most obvious result of the weekend. But I think that, look, it's a great opportunity for Liverpool here to basically wrap the title up. I was right. I said the title was over. Funnily enough, I said, the video's there, when Liverpool beat Man City at the... this might be controversial, what I'm about to say, but when Liverpool beat Man City at Anfield in December, was it? I did a video saying, that's the title to Liverpool. And everyone's like, what are you talking about? What are you talking about? But 2 weeks before, I'd already said Arsenal are out of the title race. And people are like, what are you talking about? You can't be right. And I'm like, for me, might be controversial, but that was the day Liverpool put Man City out of the title race. Because Man City had a few bad results before that. I think Brighton, Bournemouth come to mind. And then Liverpool beat them. And it just was very obvious at that point that it wasn't a small blip for Man City. They weren't coming back. And Liverpool sort of put the final nail in the coffin of they weren't coming back. So that's why I said, when Liverpool beat Man City at Anfield, that's it, the title's gone. And obviously, mathematically it wasn't, but I've still been proven right because I don't give a toss about mathematically. I knew Liverpool were going to win the league when they beat Man City at Anfield because that was the only team that was going to stop Liverpool. Arsenal were never going to be the team to stop them. Arsenal fans know it. Arsenal fans know it. Search your heart. You knew at Christmas you weren't going to catch them. And you definitely knew when your club didn't buy a striker. So I think that the way it's panned out is that Liverpool won the title for me when they beat Man City. Because Man City were the only team capable of hunting this Liverpool side down. And obviously Man City have fallen away. So you can't rely on Arsenal to do it, especially when Arsenal have been Arsenal since day one. Too many red cards, no striker, can't win a league title. Very good defence, very good midfield, very good manager, but they just don't have the tools to do it for me. But looking at this Liverpool side today, look, they can... I was speaking to a Liverpool fan this morning, one of the dads who's a Liverpool fan from the team that Sebs plays for, and we were talking, and it was almost like they could lose this game. They can afford to, they're not going to want to lose this game, but they could lose this game and still be in a very, 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 very comfortable position to win the league. But I actually think when you look at the two sides, so let's have a look at that Man City side again. Look at that Man City side. For the first time in a long time, I look at that Man City side, then I look at this Liverpool side, and I go, even though it's at the Etihad, Liverpool are stronger. Alisson, Robertson, Van Dijk, Konate, Trent, very good back five. McAllister, Gravenberch, Szoboszlai, very good midfield. Salah, Diaz, Jones. Oh, right, I think Jones in the front three is a bit of a weakness. Gakpo only fit enough for the bench. Nunez on the bench, Jota on the bench. You know, one of those players in for Jones makes them stronger, but they are the better side. And that's just the way it is at the moment. Yeah, I'll tell you what I thought was did you see Pep Guardiola being asked about Carragher saying that Haaland was hiding from Rudiger and didn't want to play on Wednesday? I thought that was a little bit weird. But we've had, look, it's been a weird weekend. I wouldn't be surprised if Man City went and won this 3-0. It has been a really weird weekend this weekend. Arsenal obviously losing to West Ham, but Palace winning at Fulham, Wolves winning at Bournemouth. Maybe a couple of contentious VAR decisions. I mean, look, Forest scoring first at Newcastle and then being 4-1 down at half-time and then coming back to 4-3. Very, very interesting weekend of football as well. But will we get... I just hope we get a good game here. I hope it's a good advert for the game. Keevan says Carragher is not wrong. And if City play anything like they did against Real, it could see Liverpool battering them, says Lee Berman. I think it's a really important game for Manchester City, as I said. Look, their season is basically over apart from the FA Cup, but you can start putting a marker in the sand for next season. And I didn't realise they were expanding the stadium at the Etihad at the back there. They're building something up the back, look there. Maybe they're like empty seats. But I think if Manchester City's plan is to bounce back next season, which I'm sure it is, they do need to start showing in the next few weeks an ability to do that. And I do like the signing of Mamouche. I think a lot of people do. So, yeah. Job says, yeah, Haaland's got to be done mentally after seeing all his goals go in vain since his defensive midfielder are absolutely shambolic at defending. I think Erling Haaland's obviously injured, isn't he? To be fair, if he's not playing today and he was on the bench, he's not on the bench today. Obviously, they put him on the bench on Wednesday against Real Madrid in case they needed him. So, yeah, I mean, you'd expect him to be playing today. I mean, it's an important game for Man City, as you can see in the league table there. They've got the opportunity to go third with a win. Mark, as far behind as Man City are, I back them more to catch Liverpool than Arsenal. Arsenal just seems to not be able to get out of their own way, says Abraham. Well, it's interesting, isn't it? I mean, we can have a little bit of a game here. We'll do a bit of our first either or, actually. Who will get third? Who will get second place in the league? Because the reason I say that is Manchester City are currently 7 points behind Arsenal, but Arsenal, mentally, I think when the title's out of their grasp, are going to suffer to not put too fine a point on it. Sorry, it's 9 points, 6 plus 3. Yeah, it's 9 points at the moment. So, you know what? I sort of get it. I do sort of get it because Arsenal, once that title's gone, I think the drop-off will happen naturally. And because Man City are in a top 4 race, they might actually get better as the season goes on, whereas Arsenal might get worse. And that could be a 9-point... I mean, look, I'd say they've got to win today. But if Man City do win today, I wouldn't be surprised if they finish second. It reminds me a bit of the season when Leicester won the league. Spurs were second, and then Spurs fell off, and I think Arsenal came through and finished second that year. And it could happen. Man City could end up finishing second. Because I think what might happen with Arsenal is, as this title becomes more further away, and they haven't got any strikers, Arteta may go with, let's focus on the Champions League, because that's our best chance of a trophy, and they might start resting players. And also, they have got to go to Anfield as well. So, look, I'm not saying I'd say there's a 80% chance that Arsenal will finish second, but I wouldn't rule it out that they might not finish second place. I think I've played the game. I've seen the game long enough to know that you can almost hit a wall when you realise that your ambitions aren't going to be met, and psychologically you can just drop. I mean, what I'm trying to say is, when we hit April and May and Arsenal know they can't win the league, do you expect psychologically their intensity to be the same? They're human beings. I think there will become a point where Arsenal, you look at people like Declan Rice and Gabriel and Saliba, the amount of football they've played this season, you're telling me in April and May, when they know the title's gone, they're going to be as focused and as intense. I think there'll be a natural drop-off. And look, as we saw with Crystal Palace last season, the momentum they had at the end. Look, mate, all I'm saying is if Man City finish the season strongly, I don't necessarily think Arsenal will. Yeah. What about United to relegation, says Alex. Mate, you got no chance. We're 13 points off relegation. Like, look at the league table at the top. That's the same gap from Brighton to Arsenal. I was looking at this morning, and it's a very good example. Are Brighton going to catch Arsenal? Absolutely not. And people will say, well, Arsenal are better than Brighton. Well, Man United are better than Ipswich and Leicester. But 13 points is not going to... I don't think Ipswich and Leicester will even get 30 points. I would say, for a laugh, Man United should say, we're going to lose every single game. I don't think Leicester and Ipswich will get 30 points. I said that at the start of the season. I don't think they will. So, 13 points is not getting turned around. I'm not even saying it for a clip. It's just not. And anybody who talks about relegation is an idiot, because I don't use that word lightly, but I said at the start of the season, like any intelligent person, 3 up, 3 down. In fact, I said it when the season was still running. I said when whoever won the playoffs, was it Southampton? I said all 3 of those teams are coming down. Enjoy it. And people go, oh, no. Oh, no, Jeffrey, no. Well, look, it's happened for the 2nd year in a row. 3 up, 3 down. 3 up, 3 down. And it'll happen again next year unless somebody from the Championship actually has money. I think when Birmingham come up or Wrexham come up, I think they'll have a chance of staying up, because I think they'll have the money to do it. And maybe I'm hearing things like Leeds have got money. But the gap between the Championship and the Premier League at the moment is almost making the relegation battle boring. Like, Man United do deserve... I mean, listen to this. Man United deserve to be in a relegation battle. We do. We're absolutely shit. But we're not. We're not going to be. Mark, as far as I've done that from Abraham, thank you very much for your super chat. Trent in Amrim's system would be world class, says the Football Hub. I'd argue he's already world class, mate, to be honest. Yeah, I think most of these Liverpool players, I think if you put Amrim in charge of Liverpool, he'd be a good coach. And there. Are we red or yeah? Okay, that's good. Good. If you're not Man City, the league has rules. So all the money in the world won't help you. Ask Newcastle, says Streaky. Yeah, I know what you're talking about winning the league. What I'm saying is, if you come into the Premier League these days, you've got to spend money. Simple as that. And I don't think Ipswich, Leicester or Southampton or the previous 3 from last year, I think they come in and go, let's just survive. And the biggest problem you've got, and I feel bored myself saying this, but maybe some of you have not heard it, the biggest problem you've got when these 3 teams come up is people go, oh, I really think Ipswich are going to stay up. Or I think Leicester might do it. And then you ask the biggest question of all, who's dropping out then? That's the only question you have to answer. Who is dropping out of the Premier League to allow one of the promoted teams to stay up? Wolves have got international players in their team. Everton are never going to get relegated. Not with Sean Dyche and David Moyes in charge. They're not going to get relegated. They'll find a way to get 35 points. No, none of the establishment won't find a way to get 35 points. But the newly promoted teams really struggle to get there. And that's it. Do you think Liverpool will have a big summer, says Oswald? Well, that's the interesting thing about Liverpool, isn't it? Look, it's been spoken about a lot, how well Arne Slot's done coming in and getting a team to dominate the Champions League and the Premier League, if we're being honest. I do think that a lot of that's help from Klopp has to be appreciated, and I'm sure Arne Slot does appreciate it. But I also think you've got to be a certain type of manager to come in and demand what he's demanded from that team from day one. Because people say, well, Klopp built the team, but it's not uncommon for a team to not respect a new manager as much as the previous one. And Arne Slot's obviously got something about him that these players have responded so well to him. But no, he deserves his summer now. He does. Like, he deserves to be backed in the market. You'd be disgusted as a Liverpool fan if he doesn't get a couple of 100 million in the summer, because he didn't spend anything last summer. So you'd say, oh, well, I've banked 100 from last year. I want at least 100 this year. So they should be getting players in the summer. I think Arne Slot I've said this for a few months now. I'd be interested if people agree. Personally think Arne Slot's hardest season is going to be next season, because rightly or wrongly, people will say, well, it was Klopp's team. And that's not very fair, but they will. And then when he makes his own signings, it becomes his team. And I think, especially, I heard Van Dijk this morning not committing to staying. Trent's definitely going to go. Any team that loses two out of Van Dijk, Trent and Salah is going to struggle, I think. If you lose all three, so next season could be an interesting one for Liverpool. Does 35 guarantee safety, says World Padlock? This year, yeah, definitely. I mean, you're asking for Ipswich and Southampton to get 18 points from a third of the season when they haven't got 18 points from 2/3 of the season. So 35, definitely, yeah. Will City get destroyed, says Farmer Charlie? I'm rubbing my hands at this game. I'm literally rubbing my hands at this game. And that's not because they're cold. I'm rubbing my hands because this is what the Premier League is all about. This is what that's football's all about. These type of games get me excited. So all I'm looking for here is, I don't know what, you know what? I'm in an even better position because I don't actually think there's a result that bothers me. Like, if Liverpool win, they're going. I know they're winning the league anyway. So it's not like I'm going, please win Man City to stop Liverpool win the league. If Man City win, fine. I probably would want Man City to beat Liverpool, to be honest, because Liverpool can take the win that they're our biggest rival. If Liverpool beat Man City, it's still Man City losing. I'd probably like a score draw, like 3-3 or 4-4. But what I really, really want, I'll tell you what I want, what I really, really want is a good game. I want a good game of football. That's what I want. I want to see goals. I want to see drama. I just want to watch it as a football fan. And Anthony Taylor's the referee. So I actually thought he did all right in the last game. I forget the game it was last weekend. I think I watched it. What game did he do last weekend? And I thought he was all right. Anyway, thanks for your super chats that are coming in. Make sure you subscribe to the channel, by the way, bottom right-hand corner. Really appreciate that. If you're in Dublin, actually, on the international break on the Wednesday, or you want to be in Dublin on the international break, but if you are in Ireland and you fancy coming along to our live show on Wednesday, the 19th of March, it's smack in the middle of Dublin. You're very welcome. You can get your tickets by scanning that QR code. Got some very exciting guests. One of them, I think you all know, but you're very welcome. That's why that's going round, by the way. back to the chat. We are 10 subscribers away from 305,000, by the way. That's what I was looking at. So bottom right-hand corner to subscribe. Is the title over, Mark? Well, look, for me, I said the title was over a long time ago. And I think the thing that people don't understand about opinion is I understand mathematics, I understand technically, and I understand if Liverpool win 10-0 today, the title's not over, even though they've got an 11-point gap and a massive goal difference. So you can take your technicalities and shove them where the sun don't shine. I said in the middle of November, Arsenal were out of a title race. And I got a bit of stick for it. And I said, the reason am saying Arsenal won't win this league is because of this, this, and this. And I think I've been proved right on it. And the reason I said Liverpool have won the league when they beat Man City at Anfield is not because I looked at the league and I thought mathematically it's over, but just because I looked around and I went, nobody is going to stop this team. It's the best team in the league. No one's going to stop it. And I looked at Arsenal a couple of weeks before that and I went, that team is not a title-winning team. They've already dropped too many points. And lo and behold, that's where we're at. But the players are coming out. We're good to go. And I'm just going to tell you what the result of the poll is as well. A bit of injury news here. Oh, it's nothing too bad, actually. Let's write that in for United stand later. Score predictions. I said a Man City win. I'm not going to change my mind, but as I say, I can also see them wiping their arse with Man City. Are you doing a watch along on Tuesday night? I am going to do a Tuesday night watch along, but I've got to be fair. Very, very annoyed. I wish Man United were playing Ipswich on Tuesday because Wednesday night you've got Man United against Ipswich, which I'll have to do because United stand 7:30. But you've also got Forest Arsenal, which I'd like to watch. And you've got Tottenham Man City, which I'd like to watch, and Liverpool Newcastle, which I'd like to watch. So there's 4 games kicking off at basically the same time on Wednesday. And then the Tuesday Premier League games are Brighton Bournemouth, Crystal Palace Villa, Wolves Fulham, and Chelsea Southampton. Well, look, Chelsea could put out their bloody pensioners and beat Southampton. Wolves Fulham, not really interested. Brighton Bournemouth, element of interest. Palace against Villa, element of interest. I think I might just do a sort of like Tuesday night, keep an eye on all of them. But yeah, we'll do something. But I'm very pissed off with the scheduling because they basically put all the good games on Wednesday. Why could you not move? Well, you can't move Tottenham Man City. You can't. You see, the trouble is Forest played Sunday, Man City played today, Liverpool played today, Newcastle played today. So I understand why they're on a Wednesday. But Man United and Ipswich played Saturday. Why not move Man United Ipswich to the Tuesday? It's annoying, really. Good news, Mark. Playing EA tomorrow with Liverpool, says Sneck. Lovely stuff. Tell us more. Players are about to start here. We're good to go. Nearly 13,000 watching already. Absolute legends. Let's hope for a good game. Hope you're all having a good Sunday. And the poll was who will finish second. 64% went with Arsenal, 36% went with Man City. Well, look, as I say, keep an eye on that one. Right, here we go. Come on, I'm ready to go here. I want to get this going. Liverpool are going to kick it off. Anthony Taylor says, let's go. I say, let's go. Clicked it. I can't. I'm getting really pissed off with doing the timer. Mark is a Liverpool fan, apparently. Yeah, you don't know me then, do you? Out of Man City or Liverpool, what team would you say will win more Premier Leagues in the next 5 years? What a question. What a question, Super. It's not even a super chat, but I do read the chat, so I'm going to put that as an either or. Who wins more titles in next 5 years? As long as we leave Spurs out. Liverpool. This is a great question. This is why this community is so good. Get so many good little topics of conversation. We'll definitely come back to that. Are you EAFC career mode coming back, says Ross? I think it will come back, mate. I just need to actually turn my PS5 on and play it a little bit. Oh, mistake here by Man City. Playing out from the back. Salah, go again. Szoboszlai should have passed, went for the shot. Interesting start. We want to see an open game, and at the moment, it looks like there is a lot of space in the midfield. Here's Mamouche. You know what? You know what I don't get about... it's Gary Prattville on commentary. You know what I don't get about Mamouche is why everybody missed it. I mean, it's not like he's an 18-year-old that's been found from Egypt. He's like, was he 20, 24, 25? Everybody was talking about him at Frankfurt. And Man City just pop in with £50 million. He's 26. He's 26. Why did everybody miss it? Because I remember people on the United stand talking about Mamouche saying, I really like him. And I was like, yeah, but it's the German league. He's 25. I mean, why has everybody missed it? And then I've seen him in a Man City shirt. And I don't like Man City. I don't like Liverpool, you know. But I can respect talent. And Mo Salah's the best player in the Premier League. And this Mamouche, funnily enough, both Egyptian. That's coincidence. But Mamouche, to me, from what I've seen, is... got a lot. Fantastic player. Everyone missed Isaac as well. Yeah, but he's a bit younger, wasn't he, Isaac? I mean, he's actually younger than Mamouche now and has been in the Premier League for, what, 3 years? So he was a bit of a younger player. I just think on Mamouche, January transfer window, just before your 26th birthday, why didn't anybody scout him better? I mean, is he not prime Brighton a year ago? Like, or did he just explode? Because I hadn't really heard of him before, but I really like him. I think he's got physicality, he's got speed, he's got a good touch, he's got a good shot on him. I mean, look, hopefully the reason everybody missed him is because a year or two ago he wasn't that good. But this is what I mean. United fans are terrible at writing off Garnacho at 20 or Mainu at 19 or... I mean, Mamouche at 23, no one was ever bloody talking about him. And at 20, you know, basically 26, comes into the Premier League and it's like, how did everybody miss him? And it's just surprise, surprise, some people are late bloomers. Who do you think is going to win the Champions League, says Greenfire? Good play by Dorgu. I think now we've seen the draw, I think Barcelona have got a great chance of hitting the final. I think for Real Madrid, it's going to be very, very difficult. I wouldn't never write them out, but they've got a very difficult side of the draw, having played Man City already. And I think Liverpool have got a difficult side of the draw. But I'd be surprised if the winner doesn't come from those three. I predicted Liverpool before the start of the season. Oh, I tell you what, he's up for it, Dorgu. Nice ball into Mamouche. Cut back to De Bruyne and it's a goal. No, didn't cut it back. Man City have still got it, though. Very open game here. Sorry, Dorgu hasn't signed for Manchester City. I'm getting mixed up here. I've not had a lot of sleep. I've forgotten his bloody name who plays for Man City. Doku. Yeah, Doku, sorry. Done that one. Yeah, I'm going to stick with Liverpool because that's what I said at the start of the season. My Premier League predictions. I think I'm doing all right on my Premier League predictions. I was thinking about that because I'll have to do that video in a couple of... So every year on this channel, before the season starts, I do Premier League predictions, and I'm normally about 50-50, but this year, from what I remember, apart from saying Man City would win the league, but I think everybody said that, definitely predicted 3 up, 3 down, and I'm pretty sure I said Mo Salah would win Player of the Year as well, and that Liverpool would win the Champions League, so I could be at 8. I think I put Man United in the top 4, but can't be right on everything. He's had a good start to the game, Doku, but here's Luis Diaz. He's looking to have a good start to the game as well. Gives it into Robertson. Bright start by Manchester City. I think I did predict Man United would win the Europa League. I mean, Chelsea are going to win the Conference League, surely. Thanks for your super chat, Greenfire. Interesting ball by Konate. Finds Diaz on the left wing. Bit of space up against Lewis. Wants to take him on. Falls over. Looks all right, Pratt. Now Man City can come away with it. And it's Savio down the right-hand side. There was a ball onto Foden, but he doesn't have a lot of pace, so he cuts back inside. Mark Arteta out, says Channel of Chucky. I just can't subscribe to that. I don't understand that. I think it's just the epitome of spoiled behaviour, entitlement. Arteta out. I mean, I don't get that. I really don't. I think some Arsenal fans actually enjoy the Wenger out days. But I don't. I mean, I understood the Wenger out movement, understood it 100%. But I don't understand the Arteta out one. I mean, this is a manager that wanted a striker in January and didn't get given one, and now you can't score goals. It's absolutely nailed on who's responsible for that, and it's not the manager, isn't it? Here's Foden, shot straight at Alisson. Interesting start from Man City. What do we think about the new ball, says Matt Lockett. The new ball is actually the old ball. It's the last year of Nike, isn't it? It's going to be a Puma Premier League ball next year. So they've gone retro to 2002 ball, is it? Or something like that. So, yeah, more traditional. "54% of you said that Liverpool will win more titles in the next 5 years than Man City." That's close. I think it's a great question. Who will win more titles in the next 5 years, Man City or Liverpool? I actually think Man City. And the reason I say that is because I look at Liverpool and the Salah, Van Dijk and Trent thing, and I don't know what the answer is to that. This is also going to be the first summer that Slot spends money, and we don't know what he's like in the market. Whereas Man City, if they dodge the charges, they will be very rich. And Pep apparently is staying. So I can see an immediate Man City bounce back next year. If they get done and they get relegated, it will be Liverpool. But I think so much depends on that. Andy Atherton, welcome to the Members Club. Thank you very much. And Max says, "It's crazy that a 40-year-old is my #1 watched YouTuber. Love you, Mark. Chelsea, Chelsea, Chelsea." Thanks, Max. Who's the 40-year-old? It's not me. Bit older than that these days, as my hamstrings will attest to. Max says, "What do you mean dodge charges? Do you mean proven innocent?" No, because I understand the legal system, mate. And just because somebody gets found not guilty doesn't mean that they're actually innocent. But I worked in law, so you might not understand that. If you want me to explain it to you, basically, when a case goes to court, it goes in front of a jury. And you present the evidence and the jury decide whether they are convinced there is enough to find them guilty. If they find them not guilty, doesn't necessarily mean they didn't do it, just meant that the evidence wasn't there to prove it. So there's a difference between innocent and not guilty, is what I'm saying. And I think if you've actually read the charges that Man City have had laid against them, without question, there is definitely money that's gone into that football club that other football clubs didn't do. There They're not guilty if they get found not guilty. I wouldn't say they're innocent. I think that's a bit of a stretch. In the eyes of the law, they're not guilty, and in the eyes of the law, they're innocent. But in the court of public opinion, I don't think they ever would be. I've certainly seen people found not guilty that I'm convinced were the person that did the crime. Alex says O.J. Simpson. I rest my case, Your Honour. Ola says if they're not guilty, then they're not innocent. Then they are innocent. Again, you've just not listened to the last couple of minutes at all, have you? And I can't. We're watching a football match, but if you think everybody who gets found not guilty is innocent, you're very, very naive. Just the same as everybody who gets found guilty isn't necessarily guilty. How many people have been tried and convicted and even received the death penalty for crimes they've not committed? Works both ways, mate. People have been to prison in this country for 20 years for crimes they didn't commit. Look at the A-team. Man City doing well here, though. Vardiel, be careful of him. Foden, bad touch. De Bruyne, terrible pass. I'd say Man City have started off quite well in the first 10 minutes here. I mean, Liverpool... Oh, look at that by Salah. Sends Aki back to Bournemouth, into the box. And probably a little bit greedy, not looking for the pass there. Do you think Salah can be a little bit greedy at times? Well, why not? I tell you what I hate at Man City as well. I hate the double advertising board. It's just greedy. I absolutely detest their double advertising board. It should be banned. It's too big. Jordan Leak, thank you very much for your super chat. He says, do you think Trent getting done in a few times this season could hurt him going to Madrid? No, I mean, I actually think that Trent will suit Real Madrid more than he'll suit Liverpool. He will be playing in a team that is more dominant in a league than Liverpool or Man City ever could be. And good interception here. Szoboszlai, they've got a 2v2. He should have passed that into Salah. Now he goes to Diaz. He should have hit it first time. It's gone for a corner. No, I think if you play for Real Madrid, you're going to have more possession, more shots against shitter teams. So I think Trent will find it a lot better at Real Madrid. I think he'll have less defensive responsibility because half of La Liga is nowhere near as good as the Premier League. Competitive nature. In Scotland, they have not proven as a verdict, says Miss Congeniality. What player do you think fits best at Amorim's number 10? Doesn't have to be realistic, says Cole. I think in a Ruben Amorim system, you need players who are quick but technical. So I would say, without talking about sporting players, edge of the box, if that's a goal, oh dear, oh dear. Dear, oh dear, oh dear. Man City are so bad at the back. Absolute morons. Moron City. How do you get done on a corner routine? They've just Barcelona'd you. You idiots. You absolute prats. They've absolutely Barcelona'd you there. They've rolled it along from a corner, flicked it to the penalty spot where Salah's... That's off the training ground, that is. That's training day. That's Ethan and Denzel Washington, that is. Whoever... Was it Ethan... What's his name who was in training day? That is a training day goal. Denzel Washington. Watch this. Oh, mate. Mugged you off. You've got mugged. Absolutely mugged. Ah, God. I'd be fuming about that. Fair play to Liverpool. But mugged them off there. City's defence is crap. Well, big goal. It's an interesting game. Now, what player do you think fits best Amorim's number 10 system? Yeah, look, I'm not going to mention sporting players, but what you need are quick, technical players who can play that sort of position. I actually think an Anthony Gordon would do quite well in it. I actually think Mason Mount, if he could bloody play football, wouldn't be too bad in it. Good play by Doku again. That was so bad. Man City's defence is just so bad. They've been mugged off there. Cunha would be very good from what I've seen of Wolves, yeah. It was a nice set piece, says George. It was a nice set piece, but the fact that Man City are so slow to it. I mean, look, at the end of the day, look at where Salah is. Look at where, was it Diaz? Look at where Salah and Diaz are. Diaz is front post, 5 metres out from the front post, and Salah is penalty spot. It's been rolled along the ground, 30 metres, flicked to the penalty spot and goal. Technically, very good goal from Liverpool, but Man City are mugs on that. I mean, I'd expect United to concede that. Where do you think United will finish this season, says Oliver? Bottom half. Brano, thanks for your super chat. With Forest only playing 4 teams in the top half, that being Arsenal, City, Chelsea and Villa, and the rest being bottom half, which they haven't lost to, can Forest realistically get top 5? I did say that they would lose their next 3 against Fulham, Newcastle and Arsenal, and they've lost 2 out of 2. They need to go again, don't they? Nuno just needs to make them reset and go again, because they're starting from a very good position, but it is getting very congested in there. Newcastle, to me, at the moment, look interesting for top 4. It's Crossbow says, I'm sorry, but Salah has to win Ballon d'Or. One day United will work a set piece like that, says A2. Thank you, Brano. You said I've missed it, but I was just working through them. And Andy Atherton with a super chat says, hi, Mark. On United Stand earlier, I asked who would you sign, Openda, Gyökeres or Osimhen. I said Openda. You said he would be third choice. His stats are excellent. I'm sure he would improve United, Chelsea or Arsenal. I think Openda is a good player, Andy, but I'm not changing my mind, and respect for your opinion. But yeah, Andy was on the United Stand this morning and he asked me a question, Openda, Gyökeres or Osimhen. I suppose I would say to the chat, being as Andy's done a super chat, start, bench, sell, Openda, Gyökeres, Osimhen. I said start Gyökeres, bench Osimhen, sell Openda. But that's just my personal preference. I don't disagree with Andy. I think Openda is a good player, but that's where I'd go. Who do I think is going to win the league? Says Oliver. You know who I think. Goal of the season from Modric, 39 years of age, still doing it. One of the most underrated midfielders of his generation, says Chiri. I don't think Modric is underrated, is he? Can't remember that assist. Was it last year or the year before? Against Man City for Real Madrid? Or was it Chelsea? I think it was against Chelsea. I don't think Modric has been underrated since he went to Madrid. I don't think he's underrated. I don't think he's overrated. I just think he's rated. Gavin says Salah won't win the Ballon d'Or. They'll give it to Mbappe. And if they give it to Mbappe, then it will just prove what everybody thinks, that the Ballon d'Or is a popularity contest. It's not actually a serious football contest, because I genuinely think Ronaldo and Messi sometimes won it when they shouldn't have done. But the way Salah's been underrated by the Premier League and UEFA is criminal, really. I mean, how many top 3 Ballon d'Or finishes has he actually had in the last decade? And he's consistently one of the best players in Europe, playing in the hardest league. Be very interesting to see where Salah goes next, because if he is going to Saudi or he's going to the MLS, absolutely can't be criticised because he's done so much in his career. But genuinely think that Mo Salah could easily play another 3 years at the highest level, wherever that is, whether it be a PSG or a Real Madrid or whatever. He's not 33 until June. I just think it'll be a shame if he decides to go to Saudi or MLS, because I think he's got another 3 years. Lovely play by Doku again. He looks Man City's most lively outlet. Cole Hollier says, I'd be interested to see a video of Amrim's Dream 11. Would help understand player profile. I don't think we'll get one, but I know what you mean. Hi, Mark. With the draw for the Champions League now finalised, what chance do you give Barcelona of making the final and winning the Champions League? Keep up the great work, says Ryle. Somebody asked me this a minute ago. I think Barcelona have got a very high chance of hitting the final. And then it's a one-shot lottery, isn't it? I think it's going to be very difficult for Real Madrid and Liverpool because they're on a difficult side of the draw. And they've both got... Well, actually, Liverpool might not have a title race in April. I think Real Madrid will. Thank you for streaming. You make any game more enjoyable, says Tony Bologna. Thank you very much, Tony, for your super chat. Do you think Salah will go to Saudi? I think it's understandable in a sense because the money he'll get will be massive and that might be what he wants to do. Like, he actually might want to do it. But I'm just saying, he's definitely got more years in him. Here's Mamouche into Doku again. Man City 1 down here. Good play, Mamouche. Up against his countryman Salah, but Doku gets it, goes for a corner. I understand Depender is not a fashionable choice, but especially for United, it'd be excellent in Amram's system. Andy, I think you're obsessed with Depender. We get it, you like him, and that's great. But I haven't heard any links to Openda from anybody yet, actually. Certainly not United. So I don't know whether he's even on the move, is he? Haaland's not on the bench, Dragon. He's he must be injured because he's not even on the bench today. Headed away by Liverpool here. 22 minutes gone, 1-0 up. You know what the interesting thing for me is? If Manchester City were to lose this game, it would be their 9th loss of the season. That's more than Liverpool, Arsenal, Forest, Newcastle, Bournemouth, Chelsea, Villa, Brighton, Fulham. With the same amount of losses as Everton and Crystal Palace. Who would have thought that? Thanks everyone who's watching. Please do subscribe. Bottom right hand corner. Here's Curtis Jones. Gets it into Diaz on the attack. He's looked a bit rusty, Diaz. Would you take Jonathan David at United, says Dale? He wouldn't be my first choice, but would I take him over nothing? Yeah. Jay says, would you take Yamal at United? Nah, I'm happy with let's wait for Mason Mount. Jake says, what's your goal of the season? I don't watch that. So, you know, like I used to watch Goal of the Month all the time on Match of the Day years ago. I don't watch Match of the Day anymore. So although I see all of the goals, it's not something that really registers. I mean, you're asking me now and I can't even think of a goal that I'd go bang. So I'd throw it to the chat and then it will storm my memory. They'll be on 8 losses if they lose Man City. So why does it say 8? Oh, as it stands is 8. Sorry, I've read the league wrong. Sorry. I don't know. I didn't know they did that. I didn't know they had the loss on as it stands. So yeah, it would be their 8th loss. Even so, it's still more than Forest, Arsenal, Bournemouth, Chelsea, Villa, Brighton, Fulham. Only Newcastle have lost 8 in the top 10. Yeah, keep an eye on Newcastle. I mean, Newcastle have got Liverpool on Wednesday, haven't they? But then again, if Liverpool win here, I mean, these games that looked potentially difficult. Martin Painter, thank you very much. Matoma last week. Yeah, that was a lovely goal. Paul says, hello, Mark. My name is Paul. I'm a fan of soccer and your podcast. Can we talk one day? Possibly. I don't know. Our paths may cross. And I'm sure we talk. Do you think the gap between the Premier League and the Championship is getting too big to compete? Well, we've all said it. I've certainly said it for a long time. I think some people are in denial about it. These double advertising boards need to be banned. It's really off-putting. Are Man City the only one who do it? I bloody hate games at the Etihad. I really do know that's taking up too much of my screen. It's distracting. It's bigger than a player. Does any other club do that? It's only at Man City I notice it, and it's really off-putting. I think they're banned in the Champions League, aren't they? They're not allowed to do it in the Champions League. Wolves do it as well, apparently. No, I don't watch much of Wolves. If you couldn't support United, who would you support between Liverpool or City? Oh, it's a silly question, Oliver. Absolutely silly question. I mean, I wouldn't want to support either. But I tell you what, I can answer that question. If Man United didn't exist and I had to support Liverpool or Man City, I'd support Liverpool because they've actually got credibility and a history. So, yeah. I can answer the question. Rob Dobson says bigger ad boards mean less rows of empty seats. Nice ball out wide. Doku, for me, he's been Man City's best player. But having said that, you say he's been their best player, but where's the end product, I suppose? Did you see Callum Wilson's stinker end of the game? Says Marshall. I didn't watch Forest at Newcastle at all. I was having my dinner and sorting some stuff out, but was keeping an eye on the score. Emmy says, you must have missed my super chat. What are your thoughts on Arsenal's ownership failing to give Arteta a number 9? Sorry if I missed that. Yeah, I mean, look, you've got some Arsenal fans saying Arteta out, which I find absolutely incredible when you're second in the league again. And I think the best thing Arteta did was come out the day after the transfer window and say he was disappointed that he didn't get a striker, because it just shows you the manager wanted one. A week later, Havertz does his hamstring, and I just think, look, Arsenal aren't unique. There are football clubs out there that this January looked at the Excel spreadsheet and said, let's wait till the summer. But it's so frustrating as a football fan when you've got owners that are actually writing seasons off. Like, I know it's not enough for Arsenal fans to protest and say, get Kroenke out, but I would be pissed off. Like, it's literally one man's decision against millions. And when I say millions, I'm not even talking about Arsenal fans. Even I know they needed a striker in January, and to not get one, they've been proven wrong. And that's what people don't really talk about. They've been proven wrong. It's all right being the owner and saying we know best, but you didn't know best. You got it wrong. You got it wrong. And it happens with Ineos at Man United a lot. And I know Chelsea and Spurs fans feel the same about some things as well. You got it wrong. Like, the majority wanted it to happen. You decided not to do it, and you were wrong about it. And you should be held accountable for that. Mikel Arteta should not be held accountable for that. Why is it the manager that always has to be held accountable for decisions that are made by owners? Mamouche! Goal! What a finish! Offside. It's such a shame. The finish is brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. He did look offside. But what a finish. Yeah, he's miles off. He's absolutely miles off. But I tell you what, if I was City, I'd be saying, all right, you're offside, but you can't finish better than that. Absolutely brilliant. McAllister's gone down. He goes down a lot, McAllister, doesn't he? I don't think he will be injured. But that's one thing I've noticed about Mamouche. He's a bit like Rashford. He does get himself offside quite a lot, which shows his eagerness to get in. But what a finish. You can't argue with that. Jimmy. Thoughts on Rashford's newfound form now he's at Villa? Well, it's very easy, Mike. Can't be asked at United, can be asked at Villa. I mean, is that not the story of Rashford and any other inconsistent player? I don't think anybody out there has ever said Rashford's crap. Well, although some people do call him Trashford. Everybody I know that's trained with Rashford has always said what a talented player he is. He couldn't be asked at United, and now he can be asked at Villa. I think it just proves everybody right. There is a talented player there when he applies himself, and now he's applying himself. Who's your favourite Yellowstone character, mate? Says Jake. Probably Rip. Do you think Championship teams have enough quality for the Premier League, Liam? I think the evidence is there that they don't. If I was going to get promoted from the Championship, I would almost. I'd have 50 million, like 50 million, and spend it. I don't know how you do that, but you've got to go into the champion. You've got to go into the Premier League with momentum. You've definitely got to have a guy who's going to score you good goals. I'd be trying to get in as many Premier League proven players as I could, and I think they all come up with a bunch of Championship players that got them promoted, and it all falls apart. 5 years ago, would you have taken a United, Modric or Kroos? I don't really mind, Craven. I really don't care. Would you replace Højlund with Havertz up front, says Thomas? No, because I don't think Havertz is a striker. Some might say I don't think Rasmus is either, but I wouldn't take Havertz as a striker. Dance says, I saw a family here in Liverpool and their kids had half and half scarves for City and Liverpool. It was absolutely mental. Somebody's got to buy them, Dance. A lot of people buy. I don't understand the concept of half and half scarves, but apparently a lot of people buy them as a not a memorial, a souvenir for the game that they're attending. So it's literally, a lot of kids buy it because it's like their first game at Anfield and stuff like that, apparently. Memento, yeah. I mean, I just don't see what else you would buy them for. I wouldn't wipe my arse with one, to be honest, but they are a weird thing in the modern game. Casemiro, Rashford and Salah, all on similar wages, says Andy. Yeah. Mazraoui picked up a knee injury. Yeah, we're not talking about it. It's a different game. US commentators said Mamouche was just offside, says Nader. Well, you know what my thoughts are on mainstream commentary. I mean, did you not hear what Shearer was saying yesterday about that penalty? I mean, look, all-time Premier League goal scorer, whatever, but understand the rules, mate. It's not Alan Shearer's rules, is it? It's the Premier League rules, and you don't get penalties for shirt pulls anyway, and you certainly don't get them when you dive like that. The only thing to moan about is they should have got a yellow. Trent, Aki nearly scoring another own goal there. Ashley Young should have been yellow carded for that. It was the most blatant dive I've ever seen. City look better without Haaland, says Inga. Inga, is that a Norwegian name? Cultural bridge. Another corner for Liverpool. Switch on, Man City. Don't get done by another one. Did you watch the boxing last night? No. No, I didn't. I know a lot of people who did. Oh, Man City have defended that one quite well that time. So about 35 minutes here, and Liverpool will be over the moon with this. And well, they might be. Whatever the future is for Manchester City, I think it's very safe to say that they are a fallen idol. I'm certainly not going to pretend that I didn't predict that they would win the Premier League this year, and they are a fallen idol, aren't they? They are just not coming back. Not this season anyway. But I don't. They've got a lot of changes to make. I know they've got some young players that they believe in. But it's surprising though, isn't it? I mean, look, Kevin De Bruyne is getting old. John Stones is injury prone. But Phil Foden this season, what's that all about? What's the issue with Phil Foden this year? Player of the Year last year, at times incredible, but in the main, pretty average this season. Lovely play by Salah. Lays it off to Szoboszlai. Oh, for God's sake, mate. Dear, oh dear. I tell you what, Arsenal fans, it's a bloody good job you didn't need a result. Because I think we all thought this could be a big game. And I know Arsenal lost yesterday, but that's got no impact on Man City. Man City are shocking. Absolutely shocking. The simplicity, I mean, this is going to be one of those goals offside. Surely offside. No, not interfering with play. Yeah, it's too easy. Too easy. Way too easy. Man City's defence is just shit. I mean, this lad they've brought in, Karshanov, I know he's a young lad, but don't know much about him at all. But he don't look it either. Dear, oh dear. Dear, oh dear. I mean, it's getting to the point now where if Man City are going to lose, I hope they get beat 6 or 7-0. This is just... I don't know whether Man City have got a big enough support to care, but if this was Man United, having experienced it, I'd be saying these players are clearly not playing for this manager. I thought they were shocking in the Bernabeu. They didn't even have a shot in the first 60 minutes. And they're shit again. I mean, it's just shocking. It needs to be studied, actually. The drop-off from Man City this season has been incredible. Absolutely incredible. They shouldn't be this bad. It's insulting to Pep Guardiola. I've never been a massive fan of Pep Guardiola, but I know a lot of people are. And if you are a big fan of Pep Guardiola, I think this is insulting to Pep Guardiola, the way these players have performed this season. I actually feel sorry for him at this point because this is insulting. Some people actually wanted to have the conversation, Lineker and co, about Pep Guardiola being the best manager in football history. And those who are intelligent would say to Lineker that Pep Guardiola, everywhere he goes, gets given a silver spoon and a checkbook. Whereas other managers like Sir Alex Ferguson and Jose Mourinho and Jurgen Klopp and Arsene Wenger actually had to build things. So it's insulting that you talk about Pep and his amazing ability. But this is what other people would say as well. When the going gets tough, Man City fall off a cliff. He's shown absolutely no ability to deal with the setback of one player getting injured. He spent £200 million in January and they're still shit. I'm sorry. Not only is Pep Guardiola not fit to lace the boots of Sir Alex Ferguson, I think you've seriously got to say, why is he fit to lace the boots of Jurgen Klopp, Arsene Wenger, or Jose Mourinho as well? All three of those managers built dynasties. His dynasty is crumbling, and it was already a dynasty. I'm sorry. I think Pep Guardiola is a very, very good coach, but I think this season and the longevity of the fall-off raises huge questions about his credibility as one of the best managers of all time. Because at Barcelona, I mean, it's one of the best teams Barcelona ever had. Bayern Munich, forget it. I'm no disrespect to Bayern Munich. Come on, you expect to win the league every year, and he didn't win you the Champions League. Man City had already won the league when he came in. It's been an amazing period of domination. But the first time it starts to crumble, and he's unable to respond. And not only unable to respond, but also fall off a cliff. I mean, they're crumbling like a rich tea biscuit in a hot cup of tea. Falling apart, mate. I ain't got no time for Man City, but if I was a Man City fan, I'd be saying, this ain't good enough. This is not good enough. Like, this is not acceptable. Mohammed said it's so stupid he's won 6 out of 7. Mate, listen to what I've just said for the last 5 minutes. Out of the last 7 years, he's had all the best tools. I've said it before and I'll say it again. Put Pep Guardiola in an even race. I don't think he's all that. Give Pep Guardiola the best tools, the best trainers, and he'll win it. Do you think Jose Mourinho wouldn't have won 6 out of 7 with everything Man City have got? Think Jurgen Klopp wouldn't have won a lot of titles as well? Look, it's amazing to win 6 out of 7, and in no way, shape or form am I saying he's a bad coach. What I'm saying is, this is the first time in his career he's faced any obscurity, and not only has he failed, he's absolutely bottled it. Chiri says, has Pep been figured out? I don't know whether he's been figured out. I just think the players have given up. That's where the conversation started, by the way. Why are these players not playing for Pep Guardiola anymore? Just like Jose got figured out, says Chiri. I'm a City fan of 50 years standing, and I think Pep is a dreadful coach. He's got no plan B, says Jackie. Thank you, Jackie. Legend. They tricked us and gave us the wrong Dutch baldy, says Alan. And your opinion on United getting Fulham in the FA Cup, says Oliver. I'm looking forward to it. I mean, look, cups for Man United this season are all we've got. So I'm looking forward to it. Pep is not near Ancelotti. No way. Not for me. I've got a massive amount of respect for Ancelotti. And I think the fact that he's done it, he's done it at PSG and it didn't go great. But he's done so many different types of clubs as well. Look, I would love Pep Guardiola to go and take an AC Milan and make them win the Serie A for three times. That I would respect. But he picks his projects, doesn't he? Are the players burnt out by Pep, says Dougie? Something's not right, is it? Empty seats in their biggest game. There is a lot of empty seats, actually. Pep ball fell off. Salah FC, says Marshall. Salah with another goal and assist. Do you think he's the best winger ever in the Premier League, says IK? I don't want to go that far, but I think he deserves to win Player of the Year, and I think he's a world-class player. What the hell happened to City in one season, says Arta? When you reach the top 3, only way to go. There's only one way to go. Super Donut says, when you reach the top, there's only one way to go. Andy says, I just want to say thank you for all your hard work here and on the United stand. Since I've been unable to get out of bed without help, you're the highlight of my days. Thanks, Andy. Hope you're doing well. Who have you got to win the Champions League, says Liam? I said Liverpool at the start of the season, so I'm going to keep it. But I do think Barcelona have got a good chance. Pep would do better with United this season than Amrim. Based on what? If Pep won the league with Man United or Spurs as they are now, then I would say he's a great. John, I think anybody who can take Man United or Spurs to the title from here would be considered the greatest manager in world football ever. Moses says, that's just the gender, Mark. Every one of those coaches had a bad season. You're undermining his achievements because you don't like him. No, Moses, you're not listening. I'm not undermining his achievements because I don't like him. You're overrating his achievements because you live up his arse. You didn't listen to anything I said. I don't even need to answer this, but because you're rude and you didn't listen to what I spent 5 minutes talking about. Klopp did have a bad season, more than one. Mourinho's had bad seasons. Sir Alex Ferguson had bad seasons. Wenger had bad seasons. But what they did is respond to those bad seasons, or they built teams from low levels. Pep Guardiola has gone into dominant teams that were already built and then built on top of them and left before it fell apart. The difference is at Man City, for the first time in his career, it started to fall apart and he can't leave. So the only evidence of Pep Guardiola's bad period is this, and he's unable to respond to it. Now, if he comes back and wins the league next year, let's revisit it. But as things stand at the moment, this is the first real test he's had in his whole career, and he's failing it massively. And you're right, Sir Alex Ferguson, we won the title 3 years in a row through 99, and we fell off big time when Arsenal won the Invincibles and when Mourinho came in with Chelsea. But every single time, he rebuilt the team and responded to it. And look, if Pep Guardiola can do that, fine, but we'll have to wait and see. Let's play a game. Let's play a game. I've had my say. Let's put it to the chat. Not going to do Klopp because it's obviously going to be a lot of Liverpool fans in here. Who is the better manager? Pep or Jose? Could be close. Could be close. Cal Payton said, if you had 200 billion, who would you buy? Is that 200 million? 200 million, who would you buy for Man United? I don't know. Honestly, I don't know. I don't even want to talk about it. It just depresses me because it's not going to happen, is it? I'm tired of talking about Man United. I want to just talk about general football. That's why I'm on That's Football. So, half-time, it is 2-0 to Liverpool. Manchester City in the mud. And, well, look, the title race over. Forget about it. Absolutely done. No arguments at all there. I don't think anybody can have any arguments about it. It's been very, very dominant from Liverpool on the pitch. What is the score? What is the story in relation to the stats? Well, I think you'd be quite surprised. This is a Manchester City side that's actually had nearly 70% possession. They've had 8 shots to Liverpool's 3. They've had 3 shots on target to Liverpool's 2. They've had 4 corners to Liverpool's 2. They've had 92% pass accuracy to Liverpool's 83. So, statistically, if you didn't know the score, you'd probably say 1-0 to Man City. It's 2-0 to Liverpool. And the funny thing is, although Manchester City have had the better stats, I would call bullshit. And I love all this because I don't respect stats. I respect watching a game of football. And there is no way anybody could say to me, Man City deserve to be winning that game. They haven't done enough to be winning that game, and yet they've dominated on a lot of the key stats. Liverpool deserved to win that game because both their goals were clean and Man City's defence was shit. And at no point have I felt that Man City, apart from the chance for Mamouche, where he was offside anyway, I don't feel like Man City have threatened Liverpool. So it's another prime example of how stats can be deceiving, because I just don't feel like Man City have been the better team or dominated or anything like that. I think Liverpool are well worthy of 2-0. They've been the more intelligent team, and in essence, they've schooled Man City. And we've just spent a few minutes talking about Man City, so let's talk about Liverpool. Liverpool are going to win this league title. As I said, when they beat Man City at Anfield back in December, that for me was when the title was run. And a lot of people were like, you don't know what you're talking about. I said, I do know what I'm talking about, because I've seen many Premier League seasons, and I don't see anybody capable of pushing Liverpool out of first place. Mathematically, obviously at that time, and even now, it's possible, but you can't say Arsenal are second and Liverpool have drawn a couple of games and Arsenal can catch them. If you've watched Arsenal, and Arsenal fans will agree with me, they're not going to go and win the next 10 games. They're not. They're going to always drop points. Man City are capable of winning 10 games. The last 7 years show us that, but not this year. Not this year. So Liverpool have had this title wrapped up for a long time. And what's actually happening now is that the dominance of Liverpool is starting to actually be evidenced. I think it was there before Christmas. And I think, January, February, for various reasons, there's been a few draws. I mean, they've only lost one game all season. There's been a few draws, and I think that's given a bit of false hope. But I think the gap now, as it stands tonight, is more realistic and honest of what this Premier League season has been. And I'm all for us having a bit of a title race and a bit of uncertainty. But as I've kept saying on this channel, I've never bought it. I've never for 1 minute thought that it was possible. And there's just nobody good enough to compete with Liverpool this season. And I think that's been evidenced again today. The drop-off of Man City is, of course, well documented. But the dominance of Liverpool this season, and I hate to say it because I'm saying it through gritted teeth, is that pretty much from the first day game week, they've been the best side. And it's not even close. And the fact that unless Man City can pull off something incredible, they're going to have an 11-point lead at the end of February. That's not a joke. That is absolutely huge. And you'd start to worry about how big that gap could get. And that just depends on the most... Look, it's been the best Premier League season, I think, in years. But statistically, and this is where stats are bullshit, statistically, the 3 up teams were always going straight down, and Liverpool had this title won at Christmas. So why has it been the best Premier League season in years? Well, you'd have to answer that yourself. I think it has been the best Premier League season in years. But I had Liverpool winning it months ago, and I knew the 3 coming up were going down. I would say it's been the best one in years, mainly because Man City aren't going to win it. But also, that's a story in itself. I think Man City, the drop-off, is a story in itself. I think the Bournemouths, the Nottingham Forests, the Fulhams, the Brightons have made it really, really interesting. I think the fact that, as much as it's horrible, Man United and Spurs being where they are has been shocking. And I think the race for top 5 is going to be decent. But, yeah, it's... I think I've said what I needed to. What do you think Pep will do for the second half, says Luke? I don't know what Pep's going to do for... Look, I think I've said this to you. I'm sure I have. I think Pep Guardiola's gone in the summer. I might be miles off, but I think Pep's gone in the summer. I think that if you take yourselves back to, was it October, when it was going to be his last season, and everyone thought it was going to be his last season, and Man City started losing games, and then the next thing you know, out of nowhere, he's signing a 2-year contract, and then things didn't get any better. I might be wrong. Yeah, I might be wrong, but look, the way I read that was, we're losing a load of games. It's not the first time this has happened when a new manager... Sorry, not when a new manager. It's not the first time this has happened when a manager is in their final season and the players sort of lose motivation. So let's come out with a story that you've signed a new contract. The team will respond, and then you can go in the summer. I still think he's gone in the summer. I think he's mentally gone anyway. I think it's but it's a good question from Bert. He says dead wrong, who's going to replace him? And I think that's the problem. I don't want Pep to go. I actually want him to prove me wrong. I want him to prove that he can deal with a crisis and respond to it. But that does look like a team that's had its kryptonite. You know, that looks like a team that's lost its invincibility. And of course, Rodri being back might just suddenly make them unbeatable again. That might be enough to keep him, actually. And I might be wrong. I might be wrong. He might not be going. But it's a long way back. Look, I remember Vidic and Evra coming in at Man United and they didn't look great and they ended up being two of the best players in the world. Two of the best players we've had. And what's this film? Looks weird. I think looking at Mamouche, looks good. The two centre-backs they brought in, I'm not so sure. Savio and Doku have moments. The problem with Man City is I look at this Man City side and I'm like, all these replacements, can they replicate what De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, Rodri, Haaland, all these Foden, can they be that good? And that is the thing, I think. Gareth Southgate to City, says Gandos. It might be controversial, but I can name 10 coaches in history better than Pep. He's nowhere near in the GOAT argument, says Shahin. Paul Pogba has held talks with Ruben Amorim on a low salary with many bonuses. What do you make of this? I have not heard it, Mikey, so I doubt it's true. City and United have both conceded 37 goals, says Spurs Way. What do you think Pep will do for the second half, says Luke? And possession seems to count for less and less these days. It used to mean dominance, but it seems counter-attacking and precision get results, says Lucy. I think this is a great observation by Lucy. I've seen a lot of people in the chat observing it as well. I've watched Man United this season and we've actually had like 60, 65% possession. And I've gone, what the fuck have we done with that then? I actually think the best stats in the game at the moment is shots on target. Because you can't, even shots can be manipulated, can't they, by just taking stupid shots from stupid places. I think shots on target is probably the most accurate for pressure on a team. But I agree. I think possession is, what is possession without goals? Pep would be another average manager without the cash, says Jake. Arsenal fan here. We're definitely not winning the league, says Vicky. Yeah, sadly not. Jose does better with less talent. Pep works with the best and a fully talented squad, says Mahmood. Wenger or Zidane managing, says Steve. I'll do that in a minute. Pep without world beaters is average, says Chal. Jose needed money and ready-made players, never developed the youth and always fell apart after a few seasons. He didn't recover either, says Lewis. Jose's Champions League win with Porto and treble with Inter are miles ahead of anything Pep has done, says the Gimp from Pulp Fiction. I think you've just sat Lewis down without me having to say a word. Pep can't win without all the best players. Mind the gap, Mr. Arteta, says Jason. Top 5, Ancelotti, Mourinho, Fergie, Klopp, Zidane, says Parker. Seems to me Pep is massively burnt out. He actually looks unwell. He did build a lot of the Barcelona team though, Busquets, etc., says Johans. And how do you know Pep won't go and win another 4 or 5 Premier League titles in a row? I love you, Mark, but that has to be one of your worst takes yet, says Abraham. I think I've already sat you down once. Do you want me to sit you down again? It's desire. The players won the treble and fell off. Big wages and no desire, says the Hughes lad. Not really. They didn't win the treble last year, did they? They won the treble the year before, and then last year they still went and pipped a very good Arsenal side by 2 points with 91. So I don't know. I'd agree with that. Pep should be judged on if he rebuilds next season, says Rohan. I think that's fair. What I did say after the what game was it? I did a video on this channel. What was the scratch head thing? When he scratched his head. What game was that? I'm trying to guess. I mean, they've lost so many. Wasn't Arsenal. Feyenoord, was it? The draw? Was it 3-3 when they drew? Maybe. Yeah, I think it was Feyenoord. Anyway, might have been Spurs, somebody said in the chat. I did a video after that. You know, I'm not empathetic. I still think he's a good coach. And I think somebody said it in there, and I remember saying it in that video myself. Pep Guardiola, where I do respect him, is that he's obsessive. I would imagine he coaches his... I mean, you've got people like Sam Allardyce, etc. They'll just be saying, get the... You know, win the second ball, etc. Blah, blah, you know. Pep Guardiola, I think when he's coaching you, he'd probably spend an hour with every player ahead of a game talking about these positions, that positions. You can't argue with his obsession for the game and his system. Nobody can say he's a chancer. Nobody can say that he's not methodical and obsessive. But I also think that the director of football's gone. A lot of the players, Rodri, have gone through injury or they've left. And I do feel that Pep Guardiola this season may well be burnt out because he does it all, but his support network isn't there either. Rodri is so important. The director of football is probably very important. A lot of his key players like De Bruyne, Bernardo Silva, Phil Foden, Kyle Walker, John Stones, Ruben Diaz, Ederson have all had periods of drop-off as well. So from where they were a year ago to where they are now, they have actually had a lot of drop-off, which has left Pep Guardiola sort of exposed. And look, whether you run your own business or whether you're a manager of Manchester City, no man or woman is an island. You can do it for a certain period of time, but burnout will happen. We're not robots, and I think he is looking at that. Can he come back from this? That's the big question. Whether you believe some of the stuff that's been said by me and others in the chat, or whether you believe he is one of the best managers in the world ever. The question is, if he wants to be seen as that, I think he's got to stay at Man City and he's got to bounce back. Mo has got 25 goals and 16 assists in the Premier League this season, says Luke. If Mo Salah doesn't win the Ballon d'Or this year, I'll make a pledge. I will scream and shout about it, even though I'm a Man United fan, and say it's a bloody disgrace. He'll win Player of the Year. I actually predicted that in August. He should win the Ballon d'Or. Because how many more opportunities is he going to get in his 30s to win the Ballon d'Or? And he should win it. Kylian Mbappe shouldn't win it. Vinicius Jr. shouldn't win it. They've got plenty of years to do that. But look, are we going to give the Ballon d'Or to Vinicius Jr. or Kylian Mbappe just because Real Madrid win La Liga and the Champions League again? I think you've got to look beyond that. Liverpool dominated the Champions League stage. They've dominated the Premier League from start to finish. I mean, how long have they been top? Don't think that gets discussed enough. They are still, you know, in with a shout of winning the Champions League as well, let's not forget. And Mo Salah has been consistent from start to finish. So he should be winning the Ballon d'Or this year. But who should win the Ballon d'Or doesn't necessarily win the Ballon d'Or. Could go to a Barcelona player as well. If Barcelona win the league, and so it's a great point. If Barcelona win the La Liga and the Champions League, 100% it will. Look, I like it when Premier League players win the Ballon d'Or. It's great for the league. Anyway, we're up and running for the second half. 25,000 of you tuning in. If you haven't subscribed, please do. Bottom right-hand corner. Daily content on the channel. Watchalongs as well. We will be doing a Tuesday night show this week. Wednesday, I'd love to be doing watchalongs, but I'll be doing United Stand Ipswich game, and whilst keeping an eye on the others. But following week, it's Champions League. Next weekend, it's the FA Cup. I tell you what, it's a tough watch. Next Saturday and Friday. There's not really any FA Cup games I want to do a watch along for. I was looking at it. Villa Cardiff on Friday night. No thanks, I'll be down the pub. Crystal Palace Millwall or Preston Burnley midday on a Saturday. No thanks. Bournemouth Wolves at 3 o'clock. Not even on the telly, but no thanks. Man City against Plymouth. No thanks. And then Sunday, Newcastle, Brighton, Man United, Fulham ain't bad, to be honest. But, yeah, the FA Cup's a bit... The fixtures are a bit dodgy. They are. They're a bit dodgy. I said tough watch. Filth in the chat. Filth in the chat. Oh, come on. I think I've had an absolute nightmare on win, lose or draw. I think Robbie might have a 6 or 7 point lead on me on Friday. I've had a stinker. I said Man City would win this as well. I think Newcastle win and Brighton win are the only 2 points I've got. Pep doesn't improve players as well, not as much as the great managers. Grealish and Sterling were stylish and he stripped them of what they made. Like, cinema drunk. I mean, I know Grealish can be a bit of a prat, but at Aston Villa, he was one of my favourite players in the Premier League. And some of that's got to be down to his own behaviour. But yeah, Pep has nullified that talent. Joe's gifted 5 memberships. Thank you very much, Joe. Gary Neville lauding Liverpool players for being adaptable to different systems, but wait till he puts his podcast out later and blames Amrin for his players being unable to adapt to his, says Robbo. I've spent enough time listening to Gary Neville and reading his tweets over the years to understand that the only person that's right is Gary. And if it's sunny for 100 days but rains once, he'll say, I told you it was raining. Mamouche, blocked. Pep is also going through a divorce. Are we all ignoring that important point? I'm not a City fan, but I know how divorce might affect work life, says Mania. And after 10,000 steps in the morning, took a little afternoon snooze and the missus got angry. Girls just can't stand happiness for a man, says Rub. Is that a retro ball they're playing with, says Shay? Yes, I think it's... I never got to the bottom of what the year is. Thank you very much for your super chat, Pratt man. But I think it's like 2002. I've had my dinner, Ahmed. I had a roast chicken with bread sauce and tender stem broccoli, carrots, roast potatoes, gravy. Lovely. Can't whack it on a Sunday. Nathan Watson says, everybody goes through divorce. Should I stop going to work as well? Great point by Nathan, actually. I mean, I didn't want to be that harsh myself, but somebody else said it. So a lot of people get divorced. Yes, it can be traumatic, but a lot of people still have to go to work as well. Doesn't mean the fire's not gone out, though, does it? Mamouche catches Curtis Jones here. It's hard to tell. It's hard to see what happened. Looks like he overruns the ball a little bit. Nothing really in that. Nah. Nothing in that for me. Sometimes you get hurt, don't you? I mean, I'm all for that. I mean, I don't want them to get hurt. What I'm saying is sometimes people get hurt and it doesn't need to be a yellow card. Would you consider Konate to be underrated, says Zach? Only in low IQ football fans. I mean, I think Konate this season has been spoken about on this channel a lot, and I've seen it a lot on football communities. I think he's been fantastic for Liverpool. Obviously, that doesn't take anything away from Van Dijk, who is also been fantastic. I think in the Premier League, arguably, I don't watch a lot of European football, but I mean, arguably, we've got two of the very best centre-back pairings in world football. I think Gabriel and Saliba, I know they're not going to win the league, but it's not their fault. I think they're... I mean, look, there's definitely a conversation to be had there. I can't do it on here because I know there's a lot of Liverpool fans watching, but you could easily say Gabriel and Saliba are better than Van Dijk and Konate. Genuinely, you could. you could say you could flip it the other way as well. But as I say, it's not their fault Arsenal aren't going to win the league. They've done they're going to be the best defence in the Premier League again, aren't they, Arsenal? But what I'm saying is, I think we've got two of the best centre-back partnerships in the world, if not the best two centre-back partnerships in the world. I certainly don't think Real Madrid would be claiming it this season. And certainly not Bayern Munich. There's always going to be a load of Italian centre-back pairings that are decent, but I think they are arguably the two best centre-back pairings in the world in club football. Pep, better style of play than Jose, says NAU. Daniel Sturridge on Sky Sports. I'm sure we will see Haaland at some point. Presenter, well, not today. He's not in the squad. To be fair to Daniel Sturridge, though, Luke, it is weird that he's not involved today. Hey, look, Man City could get back into this game. I know the defence is shit, but what's the excuse for the attack? You know, as I was just saying there, Arsenal's defence is brilliant and their attack is not very good. Man City's defence is not very good, but what's the excuse for the attack? Jose got 60% of the vote over Pep, by the way. Who's the better manager? I'll do the defensive poll. I mean, I expect it will probably go one way because of the game we're doing the watch-along for, but I still think they are it's worth the poll. Saliba or Gabriel or Van Dijk, Canate. Start the poll. Yes, lads, UTV says big win for his last night. Mark, still top 4 for Villa. I think if you'd beaten Ipswich, mate, you'd be right in it. Another 2 points on where you are, you'd have been right in it. But because you've played a game more than everybody else, and if I'm right, you've got some difficult games coming up. I don't know with Villa. You don't score enough goals. You need to go and win 3 of your next 4. Win 3 of your next 4. I think you've got a great chance. But the Villa fans I speak to wouldn't be confident of that. They might have left themselves a little bit too much to do, but you had to beat Chelsea last night. What do you think about people saying Salah shouldn't win the Ballon d'Or because he's goals and assists stat merchant? Jay, I don't know how you can be a goal and assist stat merchant. I mean, if you ask someone like Rasmus Højlund or Solanke at Spurs, do they want to be a stat and goal assist merchant? I don't know what one is. If you're scoring and creating goals on the regular in the Premier League, I mean, what an assist this will be if it works. What a pass that was by Salah. Diaz just couldn't get it under his feet. India beat Pakistan today. What are your thoughts, says Arnab? None. Didn't even know. I suppose that's my thoughts. Presume it's cricket. Pep, done that one from NAU. Thanks for your super chats today, by the way. And thank you everybody who's tuning in. 23,000 of you. I think for a lot of people, today is the day that Liverpool win the league. As I said, you're offside, Szoboszlai. He's miles off. Miles off. Well, it's been given. He looks offside. It says 3-0, but I think Szoboszlai's offside there. I might be wrong. I think he's miles off. But it could be 3-0 to Liverpool here. Curtis Jones was looking back for the offside. Let's have a look. Szoboszlai. Could be close. It's not as obvious. I think it's offside. Looks close as Jordan C. I should be a linesman. I reckon he's off. I thought he was off at the time, and the amount of games we watch as football fans as well, you don't realise subconsciously what you're learning. We learn the game over years of watching it, and I don't need no lines. I think he's offside, and if he's on, it's going to be ridiculously tight. Yeah, he's off. Yeah, we were right. Fulham fan here, is Europe still top 8 this year, or do we need to smash you lot up at the weekend? Oh, ha 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 ha, Calder. Hilarious. I don't know, because it won't impact my team this year. Normally, top 4 Champions League, 5th place Europa League. I think that's what normally happens. But then Carabao Cup winner will be in the top 5 at the moment. So that would make Conference League probably 6th place. And then FA Cup winner, if they were in the top 6, it would make it 7. So if we get 5 Champions League spots, 6th place will be Europa League. And then it just depends on who wins the trophies on how it moves down. So I'd be pretty confident in saying down to 7th we'll get Europe. 7th getting the Conference League, 6th getting the Europa League, and top 5 getting the Champions League. And then if the FA Cup winner is in the top 6, it could go down to 8th. But I think I'm right in saying that last season it was the top 7, and I'd say it'd probably be the top 7 this year. But it's not going to impact us or Spurs. I mean, the place to be is in the top 5 this year. Champions League is such a money spinner. Hey, but look, 3-0. It was very nearly 3-0. Oliver says Sajima's come in to make cuts, then sell to Qatar. Which is... I'm not reading that, Ricardo. Nearly did. McTominay or Szoboszlai, says Eduardo. Well, I'd say Szoboszlai. Easy. Salah looks offside again. Corner that. Johan says Alan Taylor's doing well tonight. I think he means Anthony, who is the referee. Josh says Spurs are 9 points off 8th with a game in hand. Yeah, but Josh, 9 points off anything in this season is like 18 in any other season. Like you're asking Spurs to go and basically win 4 games on the bounce and everybody else above them to go and lose. That's just, it's not going to happen. I think you need to understand that this Premier League season, even a 5-point gap is massive. I don't see Spurs getting in the top 8 this year. They've got Bournemouth. What they got? They got Man City on Wednesday. I don't think they'll beat Man City. Although on this one, maybe they will. Then they've got Bournemouth. Then they've got Fulham away. Then they've got Chelsea away. Southampton at home. Wolves away. Forest at home. Liverpool away. West Ham away. Crystal Palace at home. Villa away. Brighton. I don't know. I don't see Spurs doing it, to be honest. Offside will be tested in the AIF side will be tested in the FA Cup next week, says NAU. Okay. Don't know what AI offside is. Liverpool without Salah are average, says Happy. I seem to recall last season they were out with. No, I don't agree with that. I remember times where Liverpool haven't had Salah and they've still managed to get results. Tom Boone says, I do think Pep has had it easy at all clubs he's been to and is not above Sir Alex. However, he had a big part in how football is played today. Look at how 90% of our clubs play now, building from the back. Yeah, that's another crime to football as well. Good point. You can blame him for that as well. I can't stand playing out from the back. It absolutely irritates the crap out of me how many goals get conceded in the modern game because people play out from the back all the time. John says, do you think Southampton will get the 2 points they need from their remaining fixtures to not break the worst ever Premier League points tally? Mate, if they can't get one more win. Oh, great save by Ederson there. Good shot by Diaz. Yeah, I don't think Southampton are going to get the worst ever points total. They'll surely find 2 points from the last, 12 games. Good shot by Diaz. Probably just a little bit close to Ederson. He might have made everyone play a certain way of football, but because of that, football is getting worse, says Cameron. Yeah, we don't see many shots from outside the box. We don't see people taking people on. So I don't think Pep's legacy is that good in relation to stylistic football, in my opinion. I know I'm in the minority, but I never liked Pep ball at Barcelona, and I'm not going to start liking it now. Start, bench, sell. Salah, Vinicius Jr. or Yamal. I'd start Vinicius Jr., I'd bench Salah, and I'd sell Yamal. Now, today, it'd be a different question who I'd sign, because obviously age comes into it then. I haven't really seen, somebody said at half-time a very good point. What would you do if you were Pep at half-time? Well, what you do is you just keep doing the same thing that you've always done for the last 7 years. There is no plan B. There is no let's change it up, is there? It's just the same old stuff. Do you think they've missed Haaland, Mark? Look, you're never not going to miss a world-class striker. But looking at the way the game has gone, could you honestly sit here and say that Erling Haaland would have made a big amount of difference? I don't think there's been it's not like there's been a lot of service into Mamouche. I don't think Haaland would have made a lot of difference. In many ways, it might have been worse. What do you think about this McAtee lad? I've seen him playing quite a lot. And again, maybe he is going to turn into something really special. But I just think they've got a lot of players coming through. Lewis, Bob, McAtee, Savio, Doku, the players that they bought in January. But are they going to hit the levels of Rodri, Silva, Foden, De Bruyne, and all the players that got this Liverpool team to be, this Man City side to be what it's been? It's a big ask. A very big ask. Don't know. We did that question in the first half. Who's going to win more Premier League titles in the next 5 years, Liverpool or Man City? And I think it's a really difficult one to answer because Liverpool might lose Salah, Van Dijk and Trent in the summer, and then you've got to replace them as well. So this time next year, Man City could be 11 points clear of the top, and Liverpool could be in fourth. I think Premier League season next season's really... I've enjoyed this one, but I think next season it's going to be very hard to predict, which is what you want, really. I'd love someone to come up from the Championship that can actually stay up. I just don't see it. People keep talking to me about Leeds. I don't watch the Championship at all, so I can't. Anything I say is completely and utterly unfair. But looking at the Championship, I look at it and I go, so Leeds, Sheffield United, Burnley are the top three at the moment. Sheffield United and Burnley are definitely going straight back down. 100%. They're going straight back down. Because we've seen them in this league before and they don't do very well. So they're going straight back down. Leeds, I don't know. Do you think Leeds could stay in the league? But I'll relegate Sheffield United and Burnley now. And their fans will be pissed off by that, but they might not be. They might be realistic and go, the gap, he's right, the gap is too big. We won't be able to deal with it. Diaz has done well here. Still 22 minutes to go. Is De Bruyne the new Casemiro, says Deep. Who was it who said, leave the game before the game leaves you? Because as sad as it is, there becomes a point in every footballer's career, whether you're a five-a-side player, a living room football player, a Premier League player, or a pub football player, where, and trust me, I've had it, the mind is willing and the body ain't giving, and it doesn't discriminate. Carragher said it, absolutely spot on, because it's not disrespectful to say that De Bruyne might be done, because it happens to absolutely everybody. It's like a light switch. It just happens, and you're like, I can't do that anymore. Then, I think we've seen the best of De Bruyne. I think we've definitely seen the best of Casemiro. It's not coming back. Nothing ever lasts forever. And that's why you've got to look at players and sort of like, I look at Mo Salah and I don't think it's time to go to Saudi. I think for De Bruyne, now is the time to go to Saudi, definitely. But I don't think it is for Salah. Robert says, I think Leeds could stay up. Both Arsenal and City has to splash some cash this summer, and Liverpool too. If they don't sort out some contracts, next season will be interesting, says Inga. I think if Arsenal get Zubimendi in and a striker, it's very early, but I might actually say they're going to win the league. I think the great thing about the Arsenal side is that you've got it sorted in the defence and the midfield. Just got to sort out the goals. And I don't know, right? And I don't know if we've got any Arsenal fans watching, but I would seriously consider not bringing Saka back this season. And I know that sounds stupid, but he's had a serious injury, and I think getting him back at some point in April, and then he's going to go and play England internationals in June, I just think you could literally give him 6 months off and get him fresh for next season. Are you live on the United Stand at 8 PM? Yes, I am, Leon. Opinion on Chelsea fans saying sack Maresca, says Worm. Look, it's their football club, but again, I look at Chelsea and I think, is it Maresca's fault they don't have a bloody striker? Shahin says, Sir Alex used to play out from the back, but it was quick and exciting. And you don't need 35 passes when you can do it in 7. There's nothing wrong with playing out from the back, Shahin. You're right, it's the speed in which you do it and the regularity. Sometimes there is a kick to your winger that you can play quickly. Sometimes there is a throw into a midfielder on the halfway line. But people don't do it. They get the ball, they drop it, and they look to play out from the back, even if 6 players in front of them are marked. That's the thing. It's the definition of insanity to keep doing the same thing over and over again. I don't think enough teams mix it up. And that's why we see so many predictable goals, in the Premier League with teams playing out from the back. Depends on how much money both clubs spend this summer, says Paul David Elliott. And with the money City just spent and players falling off, do you think they're feeling the loss of Palmer? Didn't look like he would fit in last year, says Matthew. What has happened to Phil Foden and Cole Palmer lately, says Jason Marsh. Well, I think sometimes football, I think the majority of the time football is very simple. I think we overcomplicate it. And look at the calendar, right? You've got the Euros last summer, pre-seasons on the other side of the world, Premier League season, increase in Champions League, Europa League, international calendar, and then you've got in the summer basically another World Cup for clubs, then pre-season, then another season, then a World Cup. We are asking way too much of our players, mentally and physically. So the first port of call for me in any inexplicable player drop-off, whether it be Foden, Cole Palmer or whatever, would be the volume of games they're being asked to play week in, week out. And football's never been so scrutinised and intense as well. 44H says, thanks for the super chat, pal. As a gooner, full credit to Liverpool this season. Arteta didn't sign a striker because he felt no one was available that was better than what we have. And that nothing. Love the content, Mark. Yeah, I'm not an Arsenal fan, so I don't know, but was that not just in the summer? I think in January he wanted something because he did that interview, didn't he, where he said, I'm really frustrated that we didn't do something. So that would lead me to think he did want something and they just didn't get it. Ooh, nearly a tap in from Amouche, side netting for Lewis. Basically, I think it comes down to Arsenal's owners about a striker in January. I mean, of course, for Manchester City, they could still win the FA Cup. Good shot by Salah. Ederson saves. Who do you think Arsenal should have signed in January? Look, it depends. Look, if you, we all would do different things. If they bid £60 million for Ollie Watkins, he obviously was interested in going, and Arsenal and Aston Villa didn't want to sell. So, if you were bidding £60 million for Watkins, surely it wasn't just a punt. Surely there had to be some sort of deal to be done. Look, if Aston Villa wanted 100 million, I don't know why they bid in the first place. If Aston Villa wanted 70 million or 75 million, then is it worth paying that for a striker that might have helped you win the league? So I would have done it. I certainly think 60 million, 65 million would have got Sesko out of Leipzig as well. But I don't know what Arsenal's plan A is. I mean, are they going back for Ollie Watkins in the summer? It seems weird to bid for someone like Ollie Watkins, but then he's not going to be the guy they want in the summer, because it's sort of contradictory to spend £60 million on a guy that you don't want in the summer, that if you'd got him, you'd be using him. So who is it that they want? Rob says, why is modern football so dull to watch? Well, the guy on the screen, Pep. He's made it all about system and structure and possession. She's all dressed up in a broken heart. Load of substitutions here from Man City. Tell you what, when you look at the league table, very interesting race for top 5. Man City, Newcastle, Bournemouth, Chelsea all played the same amount of games, separated by 1 point. Chelsea play Southampton on Tuesday, so you would say Chelsea will be in 4th place on Tuesday. And then Man City and Newcastle all play on both play on Wednesday. Obviously, Bournemouth have got their game against Brighton as well, which very interesting because they're only 3 points separated. But Man City go to Spurs and Newcastle go to Liverpool. Chelsea could be, for all their moaning, Chelsea could be outright 4th on Thursday morning. Would you expect Man City to win at Spurs the way they're playing at the moment? Say in Carragher's voice, it's about the structure. It's about the players. When I look at that Manchester United side, it's about the structure. It's about the players. Do you think Foden is a one-club player? Feels like a move could be great for him, but not sure he'd go, says Matthew. I think in the modern game, it's very difficult to be a one-club player, but you probably have described somebody that may well end up being a one-club player. I mean, look, Phil Foden's honours list on Wikipedia is absolutely fantastic. And look, it's not like he's a bad player. He's won Player of the Year, hasn't he? But how many Premier League titles has he won? 6? Chris Wood says, you just sounded like a character from Bread. Very good. I used to watch that years ago. The Boswells. Some people are saying, is the league over? Mate, come on. The question I always ask about relegation and the Premier League title race is not whether it's over, but who is going to replace them. And when you look at the league title, who is going to challenge that Liverpool side? And that's been the issue since Liverpool beat Man City at Anfield, because I only actually believe Man City at their best was capable of toppling Liverpool, and they haven't been here since October. So it's been over for a long time for me. And when I look at the relegation battle, I say the same. It's not that there aren't teams that deserve to get relegated beyond the bottom 3. The question is, can the bottom 3 take down one of those others? And the honest answer is no. For a very long time, it's been very, very clear that those 3 newly promoted teams don't have the quality to do it. And also, if you want to stay up, you've got to start well. I don't think that gets mentioned as well. If you want to stay up in the Premier League, it has happened. Fulham got promoted not too long ago. Brentford got promoted not too long ago. Nottingham Forest got promoted not too long ago, and they're now all established Premier League sides. What do they have in common? They came into the Premier League and started off okay. What do Leicester, Ipswich and Southampton have in common? They came in and started off really bad. And you've got to come in and start well. SL1 says, I remind everyone who has forgotten this year that this Liverpool will equal the league titles with Manchester United. I don't think any Man United fans forgotten, mate. Thanks for reminding those that had forgotten, you arsehole, but I hadn't forgotten. I think we're all aware of that. But I came to terms with it, if you can come to terms with it, a very long time ago. What's my general thoughts on Man City? Shit. Really bad. What a ball. And a great bit of defending. Should have been 3-0. Szoboszlai nearly in for his second. I mean, it's a good point. Ice Cream Guy says, which manager for City? If, and also not only if, but you could pose the question, why should Pep Guardiola be staying at Man City? I don't think Man City have a right to sack him. I think he's too much of a legend of Manchester City, if you can be that. Well, of course you can. But I think there is always a justification for a Manchester City board to sit him down and say, look, we're not going to sack you, but mutual agreement, it's time to go. Where would you go, though? I mean, Alonso is nailed on Real Madrid. That's why Alonso isn't the Liverpool manager. So, beyond Alonso, who I admit certainly would be a consideration, I don't see where. I don't see a manager out there that could take that Man City job that Man City fans would be confident is the guy to come in and do it. I mean, Xavi, would you be confident about? I'd love Gareth Southgate to get it. I think he'd be great. I think the Goldbridge, the Gareth Goat Gate would be brilliant. But yeah, Zidane. I think if you understand about Zidane, I don't think he would take the job. It was very a certain set of circumstances with Real Madrid. Olmo, I'm not answering it and I'm blocking you because I don't need to answer lies. And, you know, we're actually having a proper football watch-along here with people who actually ask genuine opinions. You're just making up lies. Have you ever thought about an F1 watch-along, says Jason? I have done them in the past. Might do one for the Australian one at 4 o'clock in the morning. We'll see. Xavi at Man City. Look, whoever replaces Pep Guardiola, I don't think Man City are going to have a situation like they had when they replaced, who was it? Was it Pellegrini with Pep? I mean, they literally brought in the most exciting manager in the world and with a very good reputation. I don't think you find that sort of manager now. I don't think we have those types of managers now. What manager is there out there that would be the equivalent of Pep was in 2014, was it? So I don't think there is a manager like that now. So Man City would have to take a bit of a punt anyway. Tell you what, Liverpool's defence today, rock solid. I know we've spoken about Konate and Van Dijk, but it's not like Liverpool haven't been under pressure from Manchester City. What about Arteta? Well, it would be hilarious if Arteta went to Man City because Arsenal fans are so convinced, some Arsenal fans are so convinced that he's not the right guy. I actually think Arteta with money at Man City would be very, very good, and he's been at that club before. I've never ever thought of that, and I don't think he would take it, but would it be a bad idea to give Arteta the Man City job? I actually think there'd be a lot of common sense. Premier League proven, been at the club before, similar principles to Pep. Probably be a good idea, but I don't think it would happen. Steve Johnson says, wouldn't it be incredible to see a promoted team win the league like Forest did in the 70s? Unlikely, I know, says Steve. Yeah, probably impossible, isn't it? Let's be honest. So City succession plan was Amrim. No plan B yet, says Rob. Yeah, I genuinely think it was Amrim. I don't think Leicester did promoted and win the league. I think Leicester did survival and win the league. I might be wrong on that, but I don't think they did promoted and won it. I think they survived relegation and then won it. There'll be somebody in the chat who knows it off by heart, but I don't think they got promoted and won the league. I think they survived relegation and won the league. Which is still an achievement, of course. It's happened from League One to the Championship, which I think is really impressive, but Greg, I absolutely agree. Everybody had a right stinker that year. Was that not Pep's first year as well? Everybody had a really bad year that year. I mean, I think Spurs were the main title contender until the end, and then Arsenal, they bottled that. Didn't even finish second. Daniel, I'm not talking about Anthony, so you're just wasting your chat. I've said what I've said. I may talk about it on the United Stand, but it's just such a shit topic. A footballer who's had 2.5 years at Man United to prove himself, can't prove himself, goes somewhere else and starts proving himself. Who's to blame for that if it's not the player? But apparently it's Man United's fault and it's Amrim's fault. Yeah, that's not how it works in life. If you're not happy about it that he's left, then look at the player. It's not like he wasn't given opportunities. Etihad living up to its name again, says Jason. Would Klopp do a better job than Amrim? Again, just don't really have an answer to questions like that because they're just not based in reality, are they? Like, don't understand the Amrim criticism. I don't understand anybody that criticises a manager at Manchester United when we've been going down this cycle for 10 years and anybody who thinks it's a manager issue, well. Heart of United says, unpopular opinion, City bringing Gundogan back was the worst decision. I agree with you, Heart of United. I do agree with you on this. I don't think that Gundogan went... The season that Gundogan left, he basically won him the league that year. He was brilliant in the last 2 or 3 months. Goes to Barcelona and then comes back to Man City, and you think, is that just another example of you shouldn't go back? Because he's definitely not up to it now. I don't know what he was like at Barca either. Salah's coming off here. Thanks everyone who's tuned in today, by the way. Absolute legends, 22,000 of you. Harvey Elliott is coming on for Liverpool. Oh, I don't know why I do that. 72% of you went Van Dijk and Kanate, over 28% Saliba and Gabriel. We are doing a Liverpool watch along. I did expect that. I think it's closer than that, but there we go. Man of the match. Well, it's got to be Salah, hasn't it? I don't want to be boring about it, but it has. Eighth loss of the season then for Man City. Could be 9 on Wednesday, going to Spurs. Honestly, I don't see how Man City beat Spurs at the moment. They look... I've watched Man City quite a lot this season. And they just don't look very coherent at all. I mean, they embarrassed themselves in Madrid midweek. And, yeah, they just don't look very coherent at all. Do you have any memories of Northampton Town, says Tom? I had a trial with Northampton Town when I was 15. Erling Haaland there, rubbing his forehead. Stay humble. It's always next year. "20 points clear of Man City," says First Last. Tell you what, who would have predicted that at the start of the season, that by February the 23rd, Liverpool would be 20 points clear of Man City? Four minutes nearly up, but it's Liverpool with a 4v3. Tsimikas, and Man City will come away with it. And easy interception there. I think that's going to be it. I think I have to do a match reaction, don't I? Really? I mean, that's it. Liverpool's title. Liverpool are champions. Not officially, but what are you waiting for? I looked like a vicar then. I looked like a little... I was playing football on Thursday night, actually, and this vicar smacked in a 30-yard screamer. Bottom corner. Come on, ref, blow it up. We've had the 4 minutes. This game was over at half-time. Good play by Doku. I think he's going to blow the whistle. There it is. Pep hug slot. But look, people thought this Liverpool side were in trouble when they had that late equaliser at Goodison Park. People thought they were in trouble when they drew at Aston Villa. But they went to Man City and won. And that's the end of that, really, isn't it? I'm going to do a match reaction. Thanks, everybody, for watching. I'm on the United Stand live at 8 o'clock if you want to tune in for that. And we'll be dealing with all these Anthony Pratts on there. Take care, everyone. And I will get a match reaction up very quickly. Thanks for watching. Take care.